Now, I guess, yeah, recording has started. So I'll share just my screen and my email. This is what I was working on. So this is the folder of the plain tips book. I started off with the tips that was already there, but not for the Mist Markdown conversion to a PDF. So there's a bunch of things over here. But what the real interesting part starts here. So today I thought, okay, I want to have a table of contents, which I can define the depth of the table of contents in the outline myself within the Mist YAML file. So what you can do here in the options is you can create your own options. So I created the ID TOC underscore depth, and the type is a number. And the description, well, you can say whatever it's about. So that was the first part. So we are in the template YAML file.
So this is like I can view that one as like the configuration file for how the template, like you giving instructions for the template on how to create stuff.
How it imports the Mist YAML file into the type thing. So all the information in here somehow needs to come from the Mist YAML file to the types template.
And then to confirm like this, so because this template, the types template is basically taking the source code that's in Markdown files, and its sole purpose is to convert it into that PDF.
Yeah. So if you go to the template YAML template.type file, you can here import everything and then show template with, and then you can specify what you want. For instance, the table of contents depth I've created, which is now an option. So option.toc underscore depth was the variable that I just declared. And then I say, okay, I declare this variable with this value. And what you see here is that is an integer or a number, where here it's is a string because of the quotation marks. So here everything from your Mist YAML file is loaded also here in the imports and the contents, and maybe a doc bib text. So that was the second part. So first in the template YAML file to make a variable, and here to say, hey, I need this variable, and information is getting from the Mist YAML file. So what I can show you here also, this is the Mist YAML file, so with all the contents. So that is the thing that I want to export to PDF. And here you see the options. There's a logo, there's a cover, and now also I have a TOC underscore depth, and I said maybe 2. Yep. So here you have the options that are available over here. Then we go to
Got it. And then it finds that template just because in the Mist YAML, then you just have to give the relative path to the template files.
Yeah, we'll come to that a little later, I think, but that's indeed the idea. So here, this is the template, the real how it looks in the end. So this is a template. I load the title, subtitle. I set it to none. So the standard is none. The authors is, well, your name, whatever. So there's a string over here. I present no cover at the moment. And here the standard table of content depth is not a none. I want to display something in the outliner, so the default setting is 2. But what it does is it recognizes in the Mist YAML file that there is a TOC depth that differs from this value, and overrides it. So then this is the set page is, I set it to none, the numbering to none. I set a paper size, which is defined somewhere here. Here it is. It's A4. It can be A3 or ISO B5, whatever you want. So, and here I said, well, the first pages, I don't want a numbered page because it's a book and the cover never starts with a number. So I want to start numbering later on. And then we were talking about outlines. So here is something about how to make figures, equations, and then I make the cover page, which consists of a title, maybe a subtitle, a cover picture, authors at the bottom right in gray. And then I say, let's have a break, a page break, and then create here our outline. And then we say here, the outline is the depth, is the TOC depth. So it then looks at the variable that is defined in your Mystmd file, and it loads it, and you can change it. So I can demonstrate it. I go one. Therefore, I have the example folder. So we go to the example folder, and let's see. It's now set to TLC depth of 2, and I set Mystmd PDF, and now it renders the PDF. Hopefully, yeah. It loads some additional plugins that we wrote and that we defined over here. So it really gets them from the GitHub. And now we have a table of contents with a depth of 2. And you can change it in the options, of course, maybe set it to 1. So then you only get the chapters. And you see it's really, really fast. And now you only have the chapters.
Yeah, it's pretty logical. Although there's a lot of features to follow.
So that was my idea. So I want the user to be able to create their own depth to define it, and not being somewhere in the templates doing itself, because it loads from the internet. That's an option. That was what we were talking about. So in the exports, I say go one folder above, and there is your template. It can be also the GitHub page, right, from the template.
So that template can be, but you mean like the URL to the GitHub page?
Yes.
Okay, and then
so what we can do is if we go to the GitHub,
yeah,
and then find the template, the types. You can just copy this one and insert it here, and it should be .git, otherwise it doesn't work. And it should work. There are already templates available that just work with the, for instance, plain LaTeX, and then you have to define it as a PDF, plain LaTeX book, for instance. And then it looks at the Mist templates that are available. I think there are 40 available or so. And once there is a stable release, they set it in the metadata to this specific name. So there are different ways to go either to the GitHub, where it is as you will use it as it is shown there, or you just download the entire template and put it somewhere in a folder that is in your book part.
So probably once you start using it and need it to be stable, you could also have releases with tags.
Yeah.
And then you quickly put the tag in the URL to specify which version it is. So that'd be useful.
So the version that we have is already looking decent, I think. But then you come up, if you use it and say, okay, let's try to make this depth of table of contents to be controlled by the user without any hard coding, and have a predefined, so default setting for this depth. It's the same for the pre-phase. So what we saw here was a little bit hacky, but it's fun. So there's a description already in your Mystmd file, so it allows you to make here a description, right? Why do you need a description for? It's most of the time very obvious, so I turn this into a preview. So I said here there's a description, right? And over here I say, okay, let the template have the description, so it just copies the information that is already there. And then let me see. This is the preface. I start with a break, page break. If description is none, okay, do not much. And otherwise, in new computer modern, so there's a specific font, and over here you see put the information. So the string that is from the Mystmd file, put it over this in this particular spot.
Yeah, nice.
So that's a little bit how you control your tips template, how you can make it function for your own purposes.
Okay, cool.
And so yeah, you really have to dig in the tips specific options for everything that is there, how to include an image or a line or whatsoever. But it was really nice that they have already, for instance, on the paper size, they just provided a list of all the available options that are supported.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Cool. So I noticed when you did your Mystmd command, it was mystbuild --pdf, right?
Yeah.
Why does that work? I would have thought that in your Mystmd file, you specify the output as tips. So I would have thought you do that as the option in the build command.
So it does build a tips. So in your templates, let me see, in your temporary files, I've built a few. There are .type files. So if you are okay with it, you can just make it see here's a nice equation. So you can play around with the code like LaTeX is available also. But like LaTeX, no one is going to read a text file, but they will read a PDF, which is the nice version of what is already in there.
But so I guess my question is more like that build command, when you specify PDF, it somehow knew that it was going to use this. Well, there was the only export that you specified in the YAML. So then it says, okay, well, you've got a tips template, so I'll use that.
Yes. If you do it, if you have a second one, so I can, for instance, make here a format and format. And it's a PDF, and I have a template that is, for instance, plain LaTeX book, and I specify an output, which is probably LaTeX outputs on PDF, and I have an output too. Let me see whether it's working. Now you see that it's trying to make a text file which is rendering a LaTeX output, and I didn't try it. It raises some warnings. I have to investigate what is happening over there. But now you have you're playing typebook. So yes, because I specified in the export that I use a specific template which uses the types. Then it says, well, build it, and you can, of course, define multiple exports. You can even do it with a single file where you specify in your front matter that it should be an export. You understand what I'm saying?
I think so. I thought kind of like what you had before you added the second format, right?
So you see here some content, and here it's empty. but I can do something like exports and then something like that. And then it builds only this specific page without, for instance, if I remove this, it still exports this specific chapter.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean.
Of course, the what is should be here should be something different than a Markdown file. It should be a PDF and probably looking at something like this, but I don't know it by heart. I always have to look.
being able to specify at book level or a page level.
Yeah, it's the same here. So you can for instance say Mystmd and then contents. I think chapter 1 .md to PDF, and then it's probably saying it's. Let's see what it does. And then it has made somewhere, I don't know where, in the example. Only with this one. This one is new. So I'm not sure where it is now, what it did, or whether it's there it is in the chapters. Okay. So now it only takes the chapter 1 markdown, and it's in the build folder with the exports, because I didn't tell in here. I didn't specify where the PDF should be inserted.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
So even for a single markdown file, you can see how it looks as a PDF. You might have some merits.
Yeah. So I saw when you did that second export, the tech export through these errors about image magic. Does that also happen with the tips file? I didn't catch it on that one.
I'm not sure what was the difficulty. Cannot size of graphics. So magic, no. It's a PNG or an SVG, something like that. Probably it has a SVG somewhere, converting one image with section to PDF. But it did fine. Yeah, I surely have to look whether it's converted to SVG. If you want to be sure, what's really nice about I define here the ftar.png, but I can also say there any file type, and then if you have a GIF, which cannot be converted in PDF, but you have the same name as a PNG, then it takes the PNG, but online it will use the GIF. So
okay, cool.
More questions?
We
can stop the recording now.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Stop recording.
Yeah, I think